Hello everyone, this is Dushyant aka Dushike and welcome to Dushike Writes. Today I present to you the review for the book The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This is Paula's breakthrough hit novel and it was also produced into a big Hollywood film starring Emily Blunt as well as being adapted into a Hindi movie slating for a Netflix release starring Parineeti Chopra. Let's start with a short summary of the book. The story takes place in modern day London and is told in the first person narrative from the point of view of three women: Rachel Watson, Anna Boyd, and Megan Hipwell. Fair warning, if you are someone who is going through a phase of abstinence from drinking, please do not read this book. There are plenty of triggers and should be avoided by anyone who is looking to quit drinking. Let me introduce you to the women one by one. Starting with Rachel. Rachel is the primary character and is from her point of view that we start the story. She is in her early 30s and an alcoholic. She is divorced and is finding it hard to move on with her life. To keep up the facade of normalcy with her flatmate, she daily takes a train from her home in the suburbs to London, presenting an illusion that she is going to her office when in reality she got fired from her job a few months ago. Her route on the train takes her past a row of houses which back gardens almost touching the railway tracks. Anyone who has traveled through slow trains understands what happens when the train comes to a stop in the middle of nowhere. The train invariably always stops next to a house in which a young couple live. Rachel, in her fantasy, lives the lives of these two people, giving them made up names, developing their personalities, and imagining their perfect lives together. This perfect world comes tumbling down one day when from the train she sees the woman passionately kissing a man who is not her husband. The second character is Anna. Anna is married to Rachel's ex-husband and is a realtor in her former life. She is now a stay-at-home mom and they live in the same house that Tom and Rachel purchased together. This home is just a few houses away from the place that we described above. Anna is fed up with Rachel's drunken behavior, her late night phone calls, and Rachel's constant harassment of her perfect family. She is baffled by how even after constant harassments and embarrassing behaviors when drunk, her husband still refuses to give up their house and move out. Each time there is a drunken row or an incident, Tom always covers it up, saying he will take care of it. But that does not stop the next incident from happening. The third woman is Megan. Megan is the girl from the house where the train stops on Rachel's route. She is in her late 20s and married to Scott, who is only a few years older than her. Megan is an ex-art gallery owner who has a troubled past. She is happy with her husband but is restless and unsure of what is happening around her. She finds life boring and seeks a little bit of adventure by keeping a string of lovers. After the art gallery shuts down, she even did some babysitting for Anna and Tom. Megan has been finding it impossible to sleep for some time and starts to see a therapist to help her out with this problem. She falls for the therapist and tries to have an affair with him. During the therapy sessions, Megan reveals a very dark secret from her past which she has not revealed to anyone else before that. The day after Rachel sees Megan kissing some other guy, Rachel gets drunk and lands on the doorstep of her ex-husband's house. Rachel is very drunk and ends up with bruises all over her body and a cut above her head. This, incidentally, is also the day when Megan walks out of her house after an argument with her husband and does not return. After a few weeks, her body is found in the woods nearby, her head smashed. In her bones, Rachel thinks she knows something, but in the drunken blackout stage, she cannot remember. The hunt for the killer and the self-revelations and discoveries that these women go through form the whole of the story. Now for my review. The book in its majority is written from the point of view of Rachel, a drunken woman susceptible to blackouts. The writer does a superb job in keeping the writing true to the character of a drunk, omitting critical information caused by the drunken blackouts, yet revealing just the right amount of information at just the right time, just enough to keep the reader engaged and make him turn the next page. The storyline moves back and forth in timelines as we relive the same memory or incident from the point of view of three different women, one of them having no link with the other two. The back and forth is not very jerky though, so you don't have to worry about turning the pages back and forth to keep track of the story. The characters are all very well written and each of them has a rich backstory. The entire story revolves around a few central characters, so you as a reader do not have to keep track of many people. I myself have a tendency to forget numbers and figures, so at the beginning I started to keep a rough page with the date and timelines mentioned in the book. A few chapters in though, I realized it was an unnecessary exercise and I gave it up. The writing is simple and easy to understand. The graph of the story is a bit flat in the middle, and I felt that I was unnecessarily going around in circles while making no actual progress in the story. I am new to the world of reading and I am not a very voracious reader. And I thought this might be a technique of writing that I might not know of. Numbing the reader's mind with details and chatter so he is not thinking about the actual murder but is drowning himself in irrelevant twaddle. So, when the writer finally gives you some crumb of excitement, you lap it up admirably to get away from the monotony of what you have just been reading. A fair example of that, just as I was about to skip a few pages, the writer pulled me in. The pace of the story is very neutral, ending with a huge spike and at a high. The writer does a commendable job in keeping the mystery alive right till the end. As a reader, I tried to guess the killer, and each time I thought I had the killer or predicted an obvious next step in the story, my conclusion were thought by the writer. I thought this is a nice book to demonstrate how even in developed countries domestic abuse and domestic violence, though not very much in your face, is very present. This story has two very good examples of domestic abuse victims who take the initial signs very lightly and let them fester until they become detrimental to their cause. Any person who observes obvious or even subtle hints of domestic abuse and does not report it or do anything about it, in my opinion, is a coward and undeserving to be called a human. There has to be more to life than just paying your taxes and dying. This was my review of the book. For the complete review, please log on to my website www.dushikewrites.com. The detail of the link has been mentioned in the description below. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and please press the bell icon to get regular updates. Any comments that you have or any suggestions that you have, please write them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for your time.